Alright, we are currently in our shuttlecraft approaching the ships for docking. It is the NCC-1701D. This tutorial will be showing you the basic gameplay on how to play Star Trek Bridge Crew VR on a MetaQuest 2. There's our ship we'll be training on, the USS Aegis. So we're gonna just allow this to run a little bit and do a little bit of a flyby on our ship. So enjoy the scenery. Apparently we're doing a flyby of the NCC-1701D first. Look at those nacelles, aren't they beautiful? As we're coming around, you get a glimpse of the NCC-1701A. Look at that magnificent starbase. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start our training mission. We're going to click on training. and start.
Welcome to the Starfleet Training Simulator. All of the controls of their command stations. Feel free to experiment and get comfortable with the ship here in the simulator before moving on to the real thing.
Alright, so we have 4 stations for training: Captain, Helm, Tactical, and Engineering. We're going to do each one of them. We'll begin with Engineering.
Is operating in top condition. You monitor vital status information about the ship's systems, allocate power needed for maneuvering and combat, and manage the ship's power grid to compensate for damage or boost its capabilities. You also manage the ship's repair teams and keep an eye on how visible the Aegis is to other ships in the area.
Alright, so then we get a list of all our topics. And we will go through each one. So, power allocation.
How you allocate power determines how effective each of those systems is. As situations change, you'll need to communicate with the rest of the crew to keep them supplied with power and to anticipate when to make critical adjustments. One of your most essential responsibilities as chief engineer is to distribute available power between each of the ship's major systems. Try giving maximum power to engines now.
Alright, so we would just click maximum power.
Now try giving maximum power to shields. You will have to reduce power to other systems first.
So if we try to do maximum power right away, we can't because we have no available power. So we need to reduce power to another system to be able to give shields the maximum power. Now we're warping.
Before the ship can travel between star systems, you must make the ship ready and charge its warp coils. This draws a tremendous amount of power, and you will be unable to make any further changes to power allocation or routing while prepping for warp. Begin preparing for warp now.
So we would have to switch from impulse to warp. So this you would click on the trigger and hold the trigger and slide it to warp.
Charge the warp coils.
And then hit charge coils.
The helmsman will have a limited time to engage the warp drive, or the coils will automatically discharge to prevent damage to the ship.
And while the warp core is charged, we cannot allocate power. Alright, so now repair systems.
When the ship sustains damage, it's up to you to deploy repair crews and get critical systems back in working order. You have a limited number of crews available. You may send multiple crews to repair a single system faster, or you may spread them out to work on multiple systems at once. Activate your repair controls now.
We would go into repair.
We have simulated damage to your phaser banks and scanners. Assign repair crews to both systems to get them back to full working condition.
Our phasers and scanners are damaged. We have up to 3 people we can assign. You click on one, and then assign it. Click on another one, assign it. And you can put all 3 in one, or 1 in each, however you want to do it.
Sensor array restored.
So now we've repaired the systems. And now we can go about routing power.
It's possible to increase the power to one or more systems beyond normal safe operating limits by rerouting the ship's power grid. Switch to rerouting mode now. Try diverting extra power to shields by dragging an adjacent power node over to it.
So we're going to divert this one.
You have increased maximum shield strength by drawing some power from other systems. This situation is risky, though. The extra power flowing through those conduits could cause internal damage. When you use the rerouting system, you must keep an eye on the power grid and be ready to make changes as needed.
And if we wanted to take off the routing, we'd bring it back.
Warning. Exceeding ship tolerance.
So we got 2 more sections for engineering.
Various systems of the ship affect how easily other vessels can detect the Aegis. The Aegis is designed to avoid detection at ranges where other Federation vessels would be easily visible to another ship's sensors. As Chief Engineer, you can monitor all systems which are affecting the ship's signature and gauge the range at which the Aegis will be detectable to other vessels. This information is vital when trying to avoid contact with hostile ships.
So that is our detectable range right there. We're detected by up to 10 kilometers away. The help overlay, I'm only going to show you this once because it's the same on every station. So it tells us to hold on the Oculus controller. We'd hold the button that's towards the bottom, and that will show you what overlay of the help of what everything does. And to exit that, you just hit the same button again. So that is engineering. So now we'll do tactical.
You must coordinate with the rest of the bridge crew to protect the ship and deal with any threats to it. But you also have a crucial role in non-combat situations. It is the tactical officer's responsibility to scan nearby ships and other objects in the environment to reveal vital information about them.
Alright, so again, we have a multiple of tasks to complete. We will do the help overlay one more time, but I'm just going to briefly put it on. Again, it just tells you what everything does if you need a hint on what something does. And then now we will go in order. Selecting targets.
In order to scan anything or to fire on it, you must first target it. To select a target, simply select the appropriate icon on your map. Once you've selected a target, a display will show all currently known information about your selection. Target a nearby ship by tapping its icon on the map.
So we want to select the target and click on it, and then it shows us whatever information it knows. Scanning.
You will often need to scan a target to learn more about it, or to locate people or objects of interest in another vessel. Some objects are scanned with a simple, general scanning action. This happens automatically when the object is targeted. More complex objects, like other ships, can be scanned for specific properties, such as the locations of any weak points in a ship's system. When an object has many features to scan, scanning them all at once is much slower than scanning a single specific system. Scanning is required before it's possible to transport people or cargo off of another vessel, or before being able to target weak spots of an enemy's ship systems. Target a nearby ship by tapping its icon on the map.
All right.
Here you can select what systems you want to scan. Scanning a single system will always be faster than scanning multiple at once. Also, the closer the ship is to the target, the faster you can scan. Scan the ship's engines now to reveal their status, and any weak points which would allow you to damage the engines directly.
Alright, so they want us to just scan the engines. Right now it's set to scan everything. So we would click off life sign so only the engines are selected, and then hit scan. So that's how you do an individual system scan.
As
Now we'll
tactical
do
officer,
shields.
you have control over raising and lowering the ship's shields. When raised, the shields will charge up to maximum strength over time. They are your best defense against damage to the ship. When shields are lowered or down to 0 strength, any damage to the ship may cause serious harm to onboard systems, or even loss of life to your crew. When shields are raised, The chief engineer can direct power to them to increase their effectiveness. Raise the shields now.
Okay, to raise the shield, you would use your trigger, click on this, and then hold the trigger and slide it over. You just click and not move, you're just gonna be like that.
There is a delay while power is channeled into the shield emitters before the shields come online. In a combat situation, remember that you need to raise shields before the enemy fires.
Alright, so our next is going to be our torpedoes.
Photon torpedoes are a devastating weapon. They can automatically track a moving target and deliver heavy damage on impact. However, before you can fire them, you must first give the order to arm them. Arm your torpedoes now.
Again, you must use your trigger, click, and hold the trigger to drag over.
Each torpedo tube takes time to load. Your supply of torpedoes for any mission is limited, so use them wisely. Target the nearby ship and fire torpedoes.
So you can see they're charging now with this yellow ring going around it. We could target the ship. But we have to wait to fire until they are fully charged. Okay, so now they're fully charged. And torpedoes away. There we go. Now phasers.
Phasers are a versatile energy weapon. They continually charge over time, and when fully charged, your phaser banks hold enough energy to fire multiple shots at your target. Phaser banks automatically track your target, but only if it is within the indicated firing arc and within the current range of your weapons. The effective range and damage of your phasers is controlled by the amount of energy the chief engineer allocates to them. Target the nearby ship and fire phasers.
Okay, so the arc they're talking about is this yellow half circle. Only in this half circle will the phasers target the ship automatically. Alright, so that's our phasers. You can see our enemy is down to 92%. Let's do a little more damage there. Oh, well, why don't we destroy him? Now, technically, we really want their shields to be gone before we fire a photon torpedo. You can fire one before their shields are gone, but the torpedoes will do more damage if their enemy has no shields. Okay, now they have no shields, so let's fire a couple of torpedoes. And you notice they're recharging now. Look how much damage just those two torpedoes did. Because they had no shields. And we've destroyed the target. Alright, targeting subsystems.
Phasers can be used to precisely target weak spots of another vessel. To use this ability, you must first scan the desired subsystem of a target, such as its weapons or engines. Once scanned, you must then select that system. As long as a scanned system is selected, phasers will auto-target that system's weak points. To hit a subsystem, the target's shields must be down or inactive. Second, your ship must be correctly facing the targeted point. If the target's shields are raised, or you are attacking from the wrong angle, firing in subsystem targeting mode will do minimal damage. When dealing with other ships, targeting individual systems is a good way to disable them or neutralize a threat without outright destroying the ship. This may sometimes be necessary to accomplish your mission objectives. Target the nearby ship and scan its weapons systems.
Alright, so we gotta target this ship. And we want to target their weapon system. So we had to scan the, oh, they said weapons, I'm sorry. I did engines, I apologize.
Now select the ship's weapon systems to lock on to their weak points. Your phasers are now in subsystem targeting mode. Fire them for a precision attack. Until the target's shields are down, you will not be able to hit the targeted system.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is deselect that for now and fire into the enemy has no shields. Fire torpedoes. Torpedo will do damage, but not as much with their shields raised, as you see. So they have 20% left on their shields. Okay, now their shields are gone. So now we could go into sub-targeting mode.
Very good. You have damaged the targeted system.
And we were able to damage it with the first hit on sub-targeting mode. So we got 3 more on here. The ship signature.
Various systems of the ship affect how easily other vessels can detect the Aegis. The Aegis is designed to avoid detection at ranges where other Federation vessels would be easily visible to another ship's sensors. As tactical officer, arming torpedoes, firing weapons, and activating shields will each make the ship detectable from greater distances. To reduce the ship's signature, disarm torpedoes and lower shields now.
Alright, so we want to reduce our signature. We're going to disarm the torpedoes and lower shields. But that makes us vulnerable as well, so you want to be careful. Alright, the USS Aegis is the only one with this system intrusion. So we are going to go do the tutorial for it.
The Aegis's prototype remote intrusion system can be used to send encoded signals and disrupt critical systems of other ships. Before it can be used, the tactical officer must scan the target. Once a scanned target is selected, an intrusion into its control systems is attempted via an automated routine. If successful, you may then choose to attempt any of the available disruption routines to temporarily cripple a specific system. Activate the remote intrusion system.
Okay, so our system intrusion?
Target a nearby ship by tapping its icon on the map.
And we're going to do a scan. This time we did do a full scan. So since we're only 10 kilometers, it doesn't take long to do the scan.
Select a scan target.
Alright, so if we had multiple scan targets, they would be all up here. We only have one.
Choose a disruption routine to inject into the target systems.
So we can disable their weapon targeting, isolate their shield frequency, or disrupt their engines. So we'll do the shields. And then disrupt them.
Very good. But once used, the remote intrusion system will be fully occupied and unable to disrupt another target or system for some time.
And as you can see, their shields have been disrupted. And the last one on the tactical is transporter.
Your ship is equipped with standard transporters for beaming objects or personnel aboard from other vessels or locations. Transporting first requires the tactical officer to scan the target vessel or location. If any mission-critical items or personnel to transport, the target will appear on the transporter interface. It will take time to acquire a lock-on before you can beam. and you must remain in range for the lock to succeed. The transporter cannot penetrate through your ship's own shields or those of another ship, so you must coordinate with Tactical to make sure your shields are down when you need to transport. If you are attempting to beam something from a hostile vessel, your crew will first have to disable its shields. Activate the transporter interface.
So that's our
Target a
transporter
nearby ship
interface.
by tapping its icon on the map.
So we got it, and then we have to scan. Technically, we could just scan for life signs.
Select the damaged ship from the list
So we
of
want to
targets.
again select our target.
Lock onto the survivors aboard the ship to
And then
prepare for
lock
transport. To lock on, your ship must be in transport range and unshielded. The target's shield, if any, must also be down.
And you see that it's a neutral ship, and their shields are down, but our shields are down. So it does take time, like he said.
You have transporter lock on the survivors. Give the order
And
to
we hit
energize.
energize.
The survivors are now safely aboard the Aegis, but you can only transport 6 at a time. Anytime there are more than 6 targets to transport from a single vessel, you will need to perform multiple transport cycles.
So basically, we have completed all the tasks, but we're gonna rescue these the rest of these. So what they're saying is we can only do 6 at a time, so we need to lock on again. The closer you are, the faster it locks on. If you're further away, it takes a lot longer to lock on to their signal. And energize.
Others are still awaiting transport.
So we still got 12 more. Now I'm going to show you what happens if our shields are raised. As you can see, we can even perform a scan because our shields are active. So even to just get a lock on the people or cargo we have to beam aboard, we have to have our shields down. Then we can get a lock on them. We don't have to actually get all of them on this training, but I'm going to do it anyway. Energize.
There are others remaining aboard the
Okay,
target.
so we have 6 left. This number here is how many we've already targeted. This is how many we have to transport. And both the tactical station and engineering can use the transporters. Alright, we have a lock, energize.
All are accounted
Okay,
for.
so that takes care of the tactical station. Alright, so next we will do engineering, and then we will save Captain for last. This is our engineer. I'm sorry, we already did engineering. My mistake, I'm sorry. We will do Helm and then Captain.
Navigating within and between star systems. Your crew depends on you to get the ship wherever needed, to avoid collisions with hazards in space, and to maneuver for tactical advantage in combat situations.
Alright, so this is our Helm station. So again, I'm gonna go to the bottom of the list just to do the help overlay real quick. Again, it shows us the overlay of what our controls do, just to get that out of the way. Alright, and then we are going to go through each of the sections here. So the local map.
Your local map can be used to mark ships and objects as waypoints, to check your proximity to hazards, and gauge when you are close to being detected by hostiles. Touch any target on the map to select it.
Okay. So it is outside our detection range. Our detection range is this green circle. If it was to be in across this green circle, it would be able to detect us. Maneuvering.
Your basic maneuvering controls allow you to give the ship forward or reverse thrust, to steer the ship to port or starboard, and to move the ship up or down on its vertical axis. The amount of thrust you can give depends on the amount of power your chief engineer allocates to engines. The more power your engines have, the more responsive the ship will be. Maneuvering controls are only available when your local map view is active.
Alright, so we got our local map view, and we can turn.
The throttle controls your speed and also allows you to reverse or make a full stop.
So basically we can go up or down. And we can turn. We could go full stop. We can even reverse engines. Alright. Impulse travel.
Your ship's impulse drive allows you to travel quickly between planets and other points of interest within a star system. To travel via impulse, you will first need to plot a course by choosing a destination on the impulse map. Once the course is plotted, you will then need to align your ship with the appropriate heading and engage the impulse drive. Be aware, the impulse drive cannot be engaged unless the chief engineer has allocated sufficient power. Switch to your impulse
And
map.
I was mistaken before. Apparently all the stations have transporter and system intrusions. Alright, so we're going to switch to our impulse map.
Select any point of interest in the star system to plot a course to that
So
destination.
we're just going to click the trigger to select our destination. And we're going to go to the moon. Oh, apparently we're already at the moon. So we'll go to the debris cloud.
Now return to the local view and steer the ship to line up with your plotted
So
course.
course has been plotted, so we need to go to local. This line is where we got to be facing. This is where we are currently facing. So we need to steer our ship to line it up. Make sure that you don't just let go
Grab
because
and push your throttle to
it'll just
engage
keep
the
going a
impulse
little
drive.
bit. So you want to
The
make sure
ship's
that
computer
it's lined
will
up.
automatically follow the course you plotted.
Then you're going to use your grip control. You're going to use the grip control to grip the throttle here and push it forward. So that was not the trigger, that was the grip control on the Oculus. So we got two more, warp travel and ship signature. So we'll do warp travel next.
The ship's warp drive can distort space around the ship to propel it faster than light across the vast distances between star systems. The tremendous amount of energy needed for warp travel will require you to coordinate closely with the chief engineer. To travel by warp, it is your responsibility to plot a course by selecting a star system on your warp map. When the course is plotted, you will need to align the ship with the proper heading. Before you can enter warp, your chief engineer will have to prepare the ship and charge the warp coils. Open your warp map
Alright,
now.
so we would do our warp map.
Select a star system to plot a course to it.
So we're going to go beta.
Now return to the local view and steer the ship to line up with your plotted
So we
course.
got to make sure we're...
Push your throttle to engage the warp drive. The warp coils can only remain charged for a limited time. The chief engineer will need to prepare the ship
So we
for
have to
warp
line
again.
ourselves up again, wait for the engines to be, the warp course to be charged, use our grip again, and forward. So that was warping. And the last one on the helm is ship signature.
Various systems of the ship affect how easily other vessels can detect the Aegis. The Aegis is designed to avoid detection at ranges where other Federation vessels would be easily visible to another ship's sensors. As helmsman, the more thrust you are using, the farther away the Aegis can be detected. On your local map, you'll see a ring that expands and contracts as the ship's signature increases or decreases. When other ships come within that ring, they will detect the Aegis.
So this green ring around here. Alright, so that is your helm control. And the last one will be the captain.
Coordinate the actions of the other officers on the bridge. You'll receive important updates on mission status and also have direct control of the main view screen.
Alright, so again, we're gonna just run through the help overlay real quick. So, and your grip control is the one on the side here. But when we were at Helm, I said use the grip control, not the trigger that's up here. You need the grip button here. Alright, so let's go through all the 11 remaining tasks for a captain.
The captain's objectives feed contains vital information about your ship's mission. Updates from support crew and Starfleet Command are reflected here, so that you will always know what your crew needs to accomplish. Open the objectives feed now.
So, and as you can see from up here, wherever you're hovering, it'll tell you what it is. So we want the objectives.
Some objectives also have more detailed information. Sometimes you, as captain, must choose between different ways to complete an objective and direct your crew accordingly. In all cases, your crew depends on you to keep them informed of their goals. Select the objective for more information.
So in all the selection, every time you have to select something, it's the trigger button.
Sometimes you will receive additional information to help with your mission. Keep an eye out for your intel feed, located near your objective readout for tips and hints.
Alright, so our next is going to be our hail.
As captain, you can answer a hail when messages from Starfleet or other ships are received. If the message is accompanied by video, it will be displayed on the main view screen. Answer the incoming hail
So we
now.
got a flashing light for our hail.
Aegis, this is Captain Uku of USS Huxley. Our system checks are complete. We're ready to go. We'll stand by and follow you out
Hi,
when you're
Captain.
ready.
External view.
At any time while on the bridge, you can use an external view to see what is going on outside and around the ship.
So the external view, it will be your top button up here, which now brings us to the outside of the ship. Then if we turn around, we can see everything. To exit the external view, you hit the same button.
As captain, you can access basic information about your ship's status. Open your status displays now. The status information available to you is helpful, but no substitute for the more detailed knowledge of your chief engineer.
So you got your hull status, your shields, how many torpedoes you have left, what range were detectable, what the current power grid is like.
As captain, you have the same maps at your fingertips as your helm and tactical officers. You may use these to aid communication, to identify a target for tactical, or to specify a destination for helm. Targets and nearby destinations are selected from the local map, which shows objects of interest around you. Open the local map
Same
view.
thing on this control. If you hover over the buttons, it will tell you which one you're doing. So we need local map.
Now touch any object on the map to select it as your target. Some orders you give to the crew require you to first designate a target or destination, exactly as you just did.
Okay. AI crew. This is when you're playing solo.
When playing alone or with AI members of the command crew, the captain gives orders to the AI officers. To give an order to a specific officer, look at them and use the orders system to select from the available commands. Remember, some commands will first require that you select a target or destination. Try ordering your chief engineer to prioritize power to engines. Some orders apply to the entire crew. To access these orders, look towards the central console in front of you. First, select the closest ship from your local map. Then try ordering the crew to investigate it.
Okay, so your order button is the A button on the right controller. So we're looking at the center, so this is why it says crew ride orders. If we look towards engineering, we could hit power to engines.
Affirmative.
Open the local
Full
map
power to
view.
engines.
We could select a target, then do a ship ride, a crew ride order, and analyze target.
Aye, aye. Target selected.
Then it will start
Scan
scanning
initiated.
it.
Scan complete, Captain.
Okay, then we have our... Let me take that off. Impulse map next.
Impulse engines allow the ship to rapidly traverse great distances within a star system. When playing with an AI crew, you will need to choose a destination and give the orders to prepare for and initiate impulse travel. First, choose a destination from your
Alright,
impulse
so we
map.
call up our impulse map.
You need to select a destination from the impulse map. Now give the order to prepare for impulse. Your chief engineer will give more power to the engines, and your helmsman will lay in a course
So
and
we need to
align the
hit the
ship.
orders button again, and then hit prepare impulse.
Aye, aye.
Tell the crew to engage impulse flight.
Plotting impulse course.
He will line up the ship. The helm will line up
On
the
your mark,
ship.
Captain.
When it's green, we could go ahead and give a ship right order, engage the impulse.
Aye.
Alright, next is going to be our warp map.
The ship's warp drive can generate a warp field, distorting space around the Aegis and allowing you to travel to other star systems much faster than the speed of light. When playing with an AI crew, the captain chooses a destination and gives the orders to prepare for and initiate warp travel. Always bear in mind that charging the warp coils consumes most of the ship's power. The Aegis will not be able to maintain a full combat stance during these critical seconds. To go to warp, first choose a destination from your warp
Okay,
map.
open our warp map. Oh, I'm sorry.
You need to select a destination from the
Now,
warp map.
the little Delta symbol, Star Trek Delta symbol, is where we currently are.
Now give the order to prepare for warp. Your chief engineer will direct power to the warp coils, and your helmsman will lay in a course and align the ship to the
So
correct
we use
heading.
the order button again, and then hit prepare warp.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Preparing for warp. Diverting power.
Warp course laid in. Lining up for warp vector.
Now tell your crew to engage the warp drive.
So once it's blue, we're lined up.
We're
Ready
ready
for
to
warp.
We're
go.
ready for warp now, so now we can hit warp.
Aye, aye.
So we got 1, 2, 3 more sections. The view screen.
Captains have control of the main view screen. You may choose to display any of several different overlays on the view screen, with information about your ship's system status. Try the different views and overlays available. Open your view screen
So
controls
we have
now.
our view screen.
The target and magnify views only work when you are targeting another ship or object. Magnify provides an up-close view of your selected target. Target View provides enhanced situational awareness, showing both your own ship and your target at once.
Alright, so we could go the exterior view. Okay. So that you can see that's our exterior view. We could go off, which is just our regular standard view. This slider switch here, you would hold down the trigger and slide over. That displays your speed and your heading on the view screen. Let's see if we can select somebody, or we can select somebody. We're going to select this enemy. And go back to our view screen. Now we can do the target view. So it kind of shows us and them are kind of a way off. Let's do magnify view. That's the magnify view. Gives us some shields and their hull, what their hull is, like that. So that's your view screen settings. Take over AI.
Sometimes, as captain, you may wish to take temporary control over another command station. This allows you to perform any of the functions of that role, then return to the captain's chair when ready. You cannot, however, take control of a station currently being operated by another player. To take control of another station, look at any of your AI command crew and activate orders mode. Now choose the Take Over option. You can return to the captain's chair at any time by tapping the Orders Mode button again.
Okay, so you can only take over a spot that is not played by another person if you're online. It can only be by one of the AIs. So if you're in solo mode, you can take over any station because they're all AIs. So let's say we wanted to take over tactical. We'd look at tactical, hit the orders button, and then click take over. We are now at the tactical station. If we wanted to go back, we just hit the orders button again. And then our last one, which is one of everyone's favorite.
In emergency situations, you can sound a red alert to notify your ship's crew. If you are playing with an AI as tactical officer, she will interpret a red alert as a request to prepare for combat. Try activating red alert now.
Everyone's favorite, red alert.
Aye, Captain. Shields up. Arming torpedoes.
And that is the training for every station on the ship. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give a like, leave a comment in the description down below. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing for more tutorials and gameplay. Thank you.